You need the prosecutor to put it together for you, to connect those dots for you.
Joining us right now, defense attorney Tayna Miller, who also happens to be a former federal prosecutor. Just happens to be. It just fell into your lap.
The thing that's missing, I think, is a motive. All of these small pieces of evidence that they're hoping at the end of the day, they can string together to bring a clear picture to this jury. If they can definitely prove that he lied, he fabricated, and he did that knowingly, then ultimately they do have enough to prosecute him. Parents do legally have the right to use corporal punishment on their children. When you're assessing whether or not a person has appropriately used self-defense, and particularly deadly force, you have to look at all the facts and circumstances. If you don't have anything that's going to really hit hard, then you really don't want to get into it, because the jurors look and judge you very strictly as a defendant. We're fed up, the police aren't doing their job, we're taking matters into our own hands, and then the question becomes when that corporal punishment is deemed unreasonable under the law. The prosecution is smart to put her on first because she is going to humanize Chris Kyle. He is not Bradley Cooper. He was a real live person who had a wife who loved him, who had children. So the question will be, like it is in any criminal case, what he knew, what he understood, the circumstances of the case. Those are all going to factor into whether or not the shooting is going to be deemed to be justified or not. You have to be really careful as a prosecutor when you start getting into these very technical piece-by-piece pieces of evidence. Whenever you're looking at an officer's use of excessive force or deadly force, you have to put it into a context for the jury. Ultimately, it's the prosecutor. It's the person who makes that decision about who to charge and who not to charge. Investigators are going to have to find out whether or not the girl who uploaded the video can be considered under Texas law a party to the crime or an accessory to the crime. Once things get out there on the internet, it's so hard to rein it back in. I think that is clear evidence that she knew what she was doing and she was trying to cover up her tracks. It is critical, if you are investigating a sexual assault, that you move quickly. I think there are going to be some dicey legal issues in there. The defense is going to have an uphill battle in this case. You have hit the nail on the head how credible that evidence is. Right, that's one way to put it. He obviously has a sense of entitlement and superiority and probably anger management issues. It sounds to me like a CYA call, a cover your butt call. Juveniles aren't found guilty, they are found delinquent. Listen, if we have reached a verdict on some of these counts, but we're struggling with another, what can we do? Most Americans would agree with that in a very general sense of the word. And whether a person is medically dead versus whether or not the family is really ready to let go of hope. But I agree with you, I don't know that they really care about money right now. I think it's fair when you look at sort of the objective facts. I'm just not with you guys on this case, Vinny.
Close your eyes.